Hey everybody, thanks for coming out today. You're ready for some hardcore Kintone action. Kintone! I hope not, because there isn't anything particularly hardcore about Kintone. So if you're hanging out for that, this workshop may not be for you, but I'm going to do my best to keep everybody awake today, most importantly, including myself. And hopefully we might actually learn something today. So hooray. Times listed here for today's agenda, just basic approximations, so take them with a grain of salt. But I'm hoping to kick off with an overview of today's activities for 10 to 15 minutes, followed by 80 or 90 minutes of hands-on hardcore kintoning. After that, my lovely associate Yukiko will go over some real-world Kintone customer use cases. And I realize that everyone will be listening in to us for a long time. So pro tip, make sure you turn your mic off before you start snoring. Thanks. Cheers. So first things first, quick, getting started. Let's go over some of the basics of viewing this presentation, because you're not going to get too far if you don't know how to watch this thing. As I mentioned earlier, please mute your mic to avoid background noise, and please shoot us a message with the chat button. If you have any questions about your Zoom configuration or anything else regarding today's session, we will invite you into a separate Zoom room. So I think they call them a breakout room, to explain things to you in greater detail. So yep, if you've got a question, just hit us up on the chat and we'll invite you to a breakout room and we'll sort you out. Get you squared away. Okay, so as for video controls, this is pretty easy, but you can play and pause the video with the buttons down the bottom like that, and you can also access the options on the bottom right to change the speed if you want to talk, well, you want to hear me talk really fast or really slow. All right. Now that we all know how to use a browser-based video player, I'm going to explain how to turn your computer on and off. Just fool it around. Sorry, don't mean to patronize anybody, but hopefully you know how to use the video now. Okay, time to move on to the main attraction. Let's talk about Kintone. But first, just a tiny bit about me. Okay, well, first up, my name is Sam. I was born in Japan, raised in Australia, and have had many interesting life experiences so far, which have included, but are not limited to, sumo wrestling, CNC, programming, and industrial robots, and translating for Floyd Mayweather. You see how these things are all connected to each other? Nope, no, me neither. Just thought it'd make for a good icebreaker. Anyway, I started working for Kintone last year and continue to surprise myself by how many amazing things you can do with this platform without needing to know or type a single line of code. So Kintone is the flagship software platform made by Cyborg, a software company founded by this sexy man sitting in the chair here. Not me, by the way, the guy in the PowerPoint slide, just in case I confused anybody. And he started the company up with two other Panasonic, or I should say ex-Panasonic engineers, who thought they could do a better job at building a groupware system than the one that had been assigned to them. So they began as a bootstrapped garage startup in 1997, and by 2000 they had gone public on the Tokyo Stock Exchange, making them the fastest IPO in Japanese history. So fairly impressive start. They're also famous within Japan for being one of the top 5 places to work in the country, 5 years running. So yeah, a pretty cool place to work. And the same goes for me in Australia. Great company all around. So what exactly does Kintone focus on? Well, to sum it up in a nutshell, it's these 3 things: data, process management, and communication. What Kintone does is it wraps these 3 critical parts of business teamwork into one easy to handle package with endless code-free customization capabilities. So you've probably heard of this code-free thing before, but what does it actually mean and how does it apply to Kintone? Well, basically up until this point in time in human history, Making your own app or database has required you to be a geeky programming nerd versed in computer code and possibly fluent in Klingon or Elvish as well. Kintone's interface allows mere mortals like myself to build powerful custom apps with a simple drag and drop interface, like the one on screen here. You see that little hand going? Whoop. Yep. Yeah, that's how we build apps. Pretty cool, hey? So Kintone also gives us free access to a large app library packed with templates, which cover a huge variety of situations, industries, and uses. So we can also turn Excel and CSV files into an app, which, interestingly enough, is where a lot of companies are already storing their data, which is really useful, just being able to turn those files that they already have and their data directly into Kintone apps. And then you can go ahead and tweak them with your entire team online. So just to give you an idea of exactly how easy it is, I'd like to quickly throw together a quick to-do list app just to show you firsthand. So no need to keep up with me this time on this one. I'm just gonna go and throw this together quickly and explain how in greater detail later on in the hands out on session, which is where you get to have a swing making your own apps with me as well. So I'm just gonna pop into my Kintone. Okay, there we go. Okay, hopefully everybody can see my Kintone page here. Like I said, I'll explain in greater detail later on, but let's just take a look at some of the buttons. We have the home button here. So you can always come back to the main page by pressing that button. We also have the bell icon here, which shows us notifications. I'm sure if any of us have ever used any social network platform, which I'm guessing we all have, you're probably familiar with this sort of feature where you can see notifications, things related to us. We also have the star button here for bookmarks. So if you want to bookmark something in Kintone, really useful for that. We have the announcements page, demarcated by the big bullhorn, pretty simple stuff. Quite often company announcements, things like that go up here. We have the spaces where you can have spaces for different parts of your company. Let's say you want a space for sales, a space for HR. You can put apps that are relevant to them in there, as well as have threads for communication on different topics. And then most importantly, here we have the apps section. So I'm going to go ahead and press the create app button. And you create from scratch, and we're just going to make a simple to-do list app. So I'm going to start off with a title, which is just going to be a text box. Okay, we're going to go with a user selection so we know who is logged in. Okay, I think we'll have a date as well, like a deadline. And then we'll have like a status, so like a drop-down box. Okay, and then let's see, we'll have details, which is going to be this. So I'm just going to go ahead. Let's just rename some of these here. Okay, so I'll just call this the title. User selection. You know what? I'm going to go in here and I'm going to tell it to select current logged in user. So it automatically just logs whoever is using this. Okay, date, we're going to call this deadline. Yep, easy peasy. Okay, and you know what? I'm going to take off the default to record date because we want people to put that date in themselves. Okay, and then the drop down, let's call this status. Okay, let's have, let's see, planning in progress. I'll add 2 more for maybe canceled and complete. Okay, and then we have our drop down there. Okay, and then let's just call this details. Okay, so I'll just save this. We're going to activate the app. Oh, actually, I almost forgot. We want to give it a name, so I'm going to call this to, well, I've obviously done this before. Fancy that. Okay, let's give it a mouse icon like that. We're going to update this app. Alrighty. And now we have an app. Let's try using it. So I'll press the plus button. We're going to call this practice for hands-on session. Deadline tomorrow. Status in progress. Practice more for your hands-on session, or you will look like an idiot when you present, Sam. Alrighty, just a bit of a memo to myself. Alrighty, okay, so we've gone ahead and we've made that. Okay, and let's go back to the PowerPoint presentation. So that was a good example of just a very simple Kintone app. And as you can tell, that didn't take me more than a couple of minutes. And because Kintone is so versatile, it can be adjusted to suit almost any team's needs. So whether you're in sales or HR or none of the above, you can make an app to suit your unique needs and tailor make solutions for your company and for your customers, which customers are usually pretty happy about. And I'd have to say that's probably why Kintone has been adopted by over 18,000 companies worldwide, and also why our customer base is not concentrated in one specific industry. Rather, we find that our customer base is as diverse as the many apps that they build to improve their workplaces. So from Anytime Fitness to NASA, Kintone has the tools to help all sorts of teams out. So earlier I mentioned that there are three main focuses of Kintone, which are process management, data, and communications. And the reason for this being that when you have data, process, management, and communication all in one place, you can get any work done more efficiently. As to why, well, the brainy folks that helped in R&D did a lot of work to figure out how teamwork within modern business teams works. And they found that those are the three most critical things. So the three things that we want to have in the same place effectively. So here on the screen, you can see that Kintone has all three. Just to go into process management, for example, good example of that would be, let's say you wanted to publish an article and it had to be proofread by your editor. You could set in process management to have it checked by your editor before it transitioned on to being considered complete and ready for publishing. And that could all be automated within process management with these buttons up top here, right here, yep. Okay, and then we have data. So a lot of things you see here are perhaps a bit similar to an Excel spreadsheet that hopefully most of us are familiar with, but way more interactive and obviously accessible by your entire team online. So there's the data section, the database area where we keep our records. And then of course we have communication. So the cool thing is every single Kintone record in every app has the option of including a communications box, so basically a chat box. So the beauty of this is having all of your correspondence connected to the data. So instead of having a database and maybe wondering why something happened 2 years ago, and then reading through a bunch of email logs to figure it out, all of your correspondence related to that record are already there in the chat. And when you want to bring somebody's attention to that record, you don't need to send them an email with an attachment. You just type their name into the box there, and it sends them a notification which brings them directly to this screen. It's a beautiful, beautiful feature. Really love it. So just to explain process management in greater detail, as the previous slide doesn't quite do it justice, Kintone's process management system lets you automate complex workflows seamlessly. So for another example, let's say you need something proofread before it's safe to publish, or you need approval from your CFO for a capital purchase. Kintone lets you automate the process of bringing your application to the attention of the right people right away. So yeah, it takes all of the work out of it. Now, many of you are probably thinking, hey, I've seen these sorts of features in Excel or SAP or blah, 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 blah. And yeah, you wouldn't be wrong. There are plenty of other systems out there on the market which individually accomplish all three of these purposes, but very few out there which squeeze them all into one easy to use platform, and less still, which allow the flexibility and customizability that Kintone offers. Anyway, enough theory and propaganda. Time to roll up your sleeves. And yep, let's all stretch out our mouse clicking finger. You ready to click? Gonna click a lot? Yep. Okay. So don't want to lose anybody to any RSI today. So make sure your fingers are well stretched. And for anybody who slept through the first part, I actually need you to interact with your computer now. So yeah, please wake up. Thanks. First up, please take the URL we just sent you in chat and put that in your browser. And you should see a login screen that looks like this. So please log in with the login name and password you were emailed earlier. If anybody is having trouble logging in, please shout out to us over chat right now so we can get you fixed up. Now, since you'll be watching me whilst interacting with Kintone, we recommend you use two screens. You'll realize why pretty quick. But if this isn't an option for you, then try logging into Zoom via your smartphone or tablet so your computer is free to work on whilst you watch the video. Failing that though, you can try and squeeze them in side by side on your screen. Alrighty. So just to recap again, as I mentioned earlier, please mute your mic to avoid background noise, and please, please, please shoot us a message with the chat button if you have any questions about your Zoom configuration or anything else regarding today's session. We'll invite you into a separate Zoom breakout room to explain things in greater detail if you need any help. So yep, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Okay, so without further ado, let's build some Kintone apps together. Woo! Okay, hope you're all excited. We can make some apps. Yay! Today we're going to make 3 different apps using the 3 different app building methods I mentioned earlier. One from Excel, one from scratch using drag and drop, and one from a template on our app store. The apps we've chosen are from 3 of our most common use cases, helping teams manage a customer database, which was previously in Excel, and logging transactions with a relationship manager app built from scratch to meet our needs. Then finally, we're going to make a customer feedback app for logging interactions with customers. So onto the customer list app, which we will be creating out of an Excel file. So this is what we expect the app to look like at the end, or kind of close to it. So without further ado, let's get to it. Please open your browser to your Kintone page. Okay, so let's open our browser. Just going to go back home. So press the home button if you're not there already. Okay, and the first thing you should see is the announcements page. For the purpose of this exercise, we put some links to the files you'll need here. But quite often people use this area for important company-wide announcements, such as the upcoming Christmas party or expense report due dates, things like that. You can also display graphs generated in real time by the apps you build in Kintone here to give everyone a quick digest of how things are going in the company. So a lot of people put their sales figures or predictions, things like that here with our awesome interactive graphs. As you can see, this is all customizable. So if I click on this, I can go in here, I can change the font, or I can delete things, type things, all that. I'm not going to fiddle with it now, so I'll just cancel. But yeah, this is an open canvas, so you can do what you like with it. You can also put links to other apps here. And like I mentioned before, you can have graphs there as well. So yeah, totally customizable. Okay, you also hopefully saw the bell marker earlier. Like I said, if you're familiar with social media, this is where the notifications go. So when you see a number here like this, it means that somebody has sent you a notification or the system has sent you a message. Basically something that requires your attention. So click on that. And yeah, it'll bring you directly to whatever needs attention. So for this example here, Yeah, somebody sent me a message. So thanks, user 3. Okay, so I'll just go back home. So just to give you an idea of the wording we'll be using today, I'll just jump back into the to-do list app I made earlier. So I'll just click on this. Okay, and I'll just click on this blue page here. So these blue pages you see on the left-hand side link us to what we call a record. So these are data entries within an app. So this record here, and within a record, so if I click on this, okay, so within a record, you'll see a lot of these little boxes here. And these hold all of the data within the record. We like to call those fields. So if you hear someone say, please go to this or that field, they're not telling you to go outside and play in the grass. They're referring instead to one of the boxes within a record. Alrighty. So now that we've gotten the lingo out of the way, let's go on to our customer list. Woohoo! Okay, so everybody please go ahead and download the Excel file from here. So you see how it says Excel file customer list app. Let's click on this and that should come up with a customer list. Okay, now the first thing I want everybody to do, I want you to, whoops, okay, not that. Just going to show it in folder. And I'll just try and bring up my downloads here. Just pull this over here. So you download it, it should pop up here. Now, the very first thing I want you to do is I want you to either slowly double click or you can also right click and rename. I want you to rename this file. So where it says insert your name here, what are you going to do? Yep, you're going to put your name in there. Okay, so everybody put your name in there. Please don't put my name in here. Put your name in here. All right. Okay, so I have saved that. Oh, okay, and this is going to make a lot more sense in a moment. This is to avoid confusion later down the track. So please go ahead and write your name in there and not mine. I don't want to see 10 or 20 or 40 different customer list Sam Thomason apps appear all at once. Okay, now feel free to open this file if you want to take a look. So if we want to familiarize ourselves with the data here. So as you see, we've got our regular run-of-the-mill Excel file here with company name, customer number, department, customer name, telephone number, rank, email, all that jazz. It's all there. By the way, if you'd like to, you don't need this, but if you'd like to go ahead and download the Relationship Manager app map PDF, then please go ahead and do that. Basically, this is just a PDF version of a couple of the slides in this presentation that give you a map for the app we're going to make after this, just to make it a bit easier. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. So the next thing we want to do is we want to actually make an app with that Excel file that we just downloaded. So we're going to press this magic plus button here. Look. Okay, open up. And we want to create from Excel. So we're going to click on create from Excel. And then after that, we're going to press the continue button. This is just like a wizard sort of thing. We tick all the boxes just like you do whenever you install software and you sign your soul away with the EULA forms. I'm sure we've all done that. We're all familiar with that. So you can click them one by one, or you can be lazy like me and just check all. It is good to read these to make sure that your Excel file is compliant. But if you're sure that it is, then just go ahead and continue to the upload screen. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and press the browse button. Okay. And we're going to put in that customer list with our name. Okay, the one that we just downloaded. So I'm going to put it in there. Okay, and voila. You see how we've generated a preview here? So Kintone has gone and basically appified this Excel file. And this is just a snapshot of what it's going to look, well, what the data looks like inside the file. Okay, and let's scroll down here. It also begins converting the app and making predictions as to which fields are best for each of those columns in the spreadsheet. So it usually does a pretty good job, but occasionally doesn't get it quite right. So please peruse this. For example, company name, yep, that should definitely be text. Customer number is a number. Okay, customer name, I don't think that should be a drop-down box, that should be text. Okay, telephone number, you know what, let's make that a link to telephone number. Rank, let's make that a drop-down box. Okay, and then postcode, that should, let's just go with text. Okay, and then once we're happy with our selections, we're going to click the convert button and ta-da, app added, woohoo! It's our shiny new app, congratulations. You just made an app. Aren't you magical? All right, so let's just open this up and take a look. And we can view all of the records here that we've just imported via that Excel file. So also, if we want to filter through data, we can do that. So let's say we want to look for, let's say, for example, we only want to look at people from the sales department. It'll do that. Let's just get rid of this. Just go back to all records. Okay. And then also we can make graphs out of this data immediately. Okay. So let's just click on this here. And you know what? I'm a bit hungry, so let's make a pie graph. Okay. And I kind of like what it's done here. It's automatically picked department. So if we want, we could make a pie graph based on the departments that all of these leads or these customer listings are from. So if we want, let's make this as a new graph. Let's just call this customer departments. Alrighty, and boom, we have an app. Okay, and the really cool thing is we can even click on piece of the pie, which filters the records down to the parts relevant to the piece of the graph you click on. So let's say we click on marketing here, and boom, we have all of our marketing related records. So unfortunately, we haven't been able to get it to order us a pizza yet, but it still does look quite nice, I'd say. Okay, so also, if we want to go back to this app, we can also edit anything we want. So let's say I want to go into this. I can click the edit button. Okay, let's say I change this to Smith Corporation. I can make a change to that. And one of the other really cool features about Kintone is we can also see what has changed in the history. So we look at this history button here, we click on this, and voila, it shows that I changed it from Smith Foundation to Smith Corporation. Okay, and let's say I want to go back to the way it was. I just click restore previous version, and boom, it brings us back to Smith Foundation. So it's great to have a log here, especially as time passes. Let's say 2 years in the future, you'd like to know what has changed. Having that there is invaluable to let you know what's happened over time. So no more emails or Slack or any of that. You've got your history here, and you've also got all your conversations can go here in the chat box. So yeah, you'll really thank yourself 2 years later when you wanted to know why a decision was made and don't have to trawl through 2 years of email chains and chat logs. It's just there like magic. It's Kintone magic. Yeah, cheesy enough. Hope so. Anyway, back to the slideshow. Slideshow. Okay. Hooray! So you've made your first Kintone app. I'm sure you're all speechless and struggling with a sense of overwhelming excitement, but wait, there's more. Okay, if anyone needs a breather, please feel free to stop the video and take a rest. Don't want anyone fainting from all of this unhinged excitement that I know everybody's experiencing right now. Now we're going to build a relationship manager for logging customer interactions. Oh, sorry, customer transactions, I should say. Okay, done. So the purpose of this app is to track current and past dealings with customers and look up relevant customer data directly in the relationship management app. So we're aiming to limit effort required to input data, as well as track payments made by individual customer accounts. I know I just read all of that off the slide, which is rather boring, but couldn't think of any smart ass quips for this one, so please forgive me. This is what it should look like when it's done. So I'd like everyone to bounce back to their Kintone page and press the home button up the top left. So I'll just go back to Kintone and yep, click on the house button. We're going home. Okay, next we're going to press the plus button to make an app. So you'll saw this a few times before. We're going to do it again. Press the plus button. Okay, and this time we're getting all rustic and we're building an app from scratch. So we're going to press the, you guessed it, the create from scratch button. Bing. And this brings us to the build canvas that we saw earlier in the to-do list app. So the first thing I want everyone to do is change the name of the app up the top like this to customer management and then your name. So customer management app, Sam Thomas. And as you can tell, I actually practice this. You probably can't tell, but yeah, I actually did, which is why it has an autofill function there because I've done this before. Okay. Now let's also go ahead and maybe change the icon. Okay, you can pick any image you want, or you can import one from your hard drive, but I'm going to be boring and use this piece of paper here because I'm boring. Okay. And I'm just going to bounce back to PowerPoint for a moment to show you the structure of the app we're going to build. So let's go back to PowerPoint. Okay. So you may want to pause my riveting video here on this screen, grab a snack and a drink, as Isaac Arthur would say, and start dragging and dropping the following components like this. So you end up with your page looking like it does here on the screen. By the way, the PDF that I showed you guys earlier, the app map, if you'd like to open that and use that instead, that's there as well. Might just be a bit easier because you can zoom in on the page better than you can in the video. So yep, go ahead and do whatever works for you. I am going to go back to my browser and I'm going to start dragging and dropping. So I'm going to start with the lookup field. Okay, then a text box, then a number, then another text box, and a user selection. And then we're going to put the date down here and a drop down and an attachment. Okay, a text area this time. Okay, and then a user selection. Okay, exact text area number 10. Oh, actually, no, not user selection. I almost tricked myself. Don't get tricked. Don't get tricked like me. Okay, so we actually want to put a table here. So we're going to click and drag the table. Whoop, table. Okay, and then we're going to drag a text field into the table like so. Okay, then a number. Okay, and another number. And then a calculated field. Alrighty. Okay, then I'm going to take a blank space. Okay, that's just so I can put things over here because I would like to put another calculated field right below the other one. Alrighty then. Okay, has everybody successfully clicked and dragged everything they need? If so, I'm going to move on to the next slide. Okay. Okay, now that we have all our pieces on the board, let's go about giving them appropriate names. So I'm going to bounce back to my browser. So yep, please take this opportunity to pause the video or screenshot it, or like I said, use that PDF that I provided you with. Okay, if everybody's ready there, then I'm going to move on to the more complex settings. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the names of all of these. So we're going to go and call this one company name. Yep. I'm going to call this one customer name. I'll call this one customer number. Okay, we can call this one project. And sales. Okay. Call this one expected order date. Okay. And then we're going to call this one possibility. And we're going to call this material. Call this one memo. And then let's see. Whoops, I think I've just bounced back into the PowerPoint. Just a moment. Just going to go back. Okay. We call that product. Call this quantity. And then we're going to call this price. And then subtotal. And then this one can be the grand total. Alrighty then. So I'm just going to bounce back to the PowerPoint for a moment. Does everybody see here? So today we're going to link our customer management app to the customer list app we made earlier. And yeah, yes, you heard me right. We can connect apps to each other. So we don't have to type the same thing in over and over and over and over again. Hooray! For automation and our robotic overlords, which we all love so much. So let's go back to our Kintone page and let's press the gear mark on the lookup field. Okay, so Kintone, I'm going to press the gear mark. And we've got the customer list app here. So we want to pick the data source app. Now, fortunately for me, it has come right up with customer list, but if 30 or 40 of you all make a customer list at the same time, there might be a huge ass list of different apps here with the same name of customer list. And that's why I wanted you to put your name in there. So you can type in your name and lo and behold, it should filter down to the app you just made. So we pick that out. Okay. And usually, let's see. So now that you've connected this lookup field to your customer list, let's use the company name as a lookup key. So we'll click company name here. Great, hope everybody has done that. So this is the main thing people will use when looking up data from your customer list. Now let's hook fields from your customer list up to our new relationship management app. Okay, so let's pick customer name. Okay, here. And then we're going to connect that to, you guessed it, customer name. Make another one. Let's have customer number as well. And you guessed it, that's going to be connected to customer number in our customer list app. Alrighty. So let's go ahead after that. And in fields shown in lookup picker, let's add company name. So we'll go company name. Okay, we'll click this a few more times. Okay, so we've got company name, department name. Let's have customer name. Oh, sorry. Customer, let's see. Yep, customer name, and let's have their address as well, just so we know where they are. Alrighty, so now that those are all connected to each other, okay, let's save that. And let's go and just tweak this user field as well. Okay, and let's set it the default user to whoever's logged into this record. So rather than having to look yourself up every time, what I'm going to do is going to go to others, logged in user, and now instead of having to type your name in, it'll just log anybody's name who is logged into this record. Yep, automation, baby. Okay, saves a lot of time having to click on things. So let's also get rid of the default on the current date settings on the expected order date to avoid any confusion. Because obviously we want people to type that in themselves. So I'll take the default away from there. And let's also go and fill in this possibility field here. Let's go like A, B, C, and D for possibilities there. Alrighty, save that. Okay, and you know what? I might just make this a bit longer. Whoop, put that right there. And yeah, by the way, guys, you can move these all around any way you like that. So yeah, totally rearrangeable. That comes particularly in handy when you start using one on your mobile and you want to have things aligned in a particular way. Just with smaller screens, Kintone does a pretty good job to do most of that for you, but it's great to have that flexibility to do it yourself. All right, stay with me, people, stay with me. Let's look at the product, price, quantity, and subtotal fields here. So right down here, so product, price, quantity, and subtotal fields. So they're currently set up in a way where you could only input, actually, I didn't have that in here, but the reason I put this in a table is so that we can put more than one at a time. If I had these as individual fields, then you wouldn't be able to do that. And you'll see why later on. They're currently set up in a way where we can do it more than once. So that's why we like to call it a table. And to the right, you see this box with little boxes in it. That's table button. Yep, we've already gone and put the table in there. Table, alrighty. Okay, so I need everybody's attention now because we're going to do something that will probably be the trickiest thing we do today. Alrighty, so everybody pay attention. What I want you to do is I want you to go to the quantity field here. I'm going to click on the settings button. Now, I want us to type quantity in here. And you can copy this and paste if you'd like, but these fields are case sensitive. And so quite often I like to just put it all in lowercase like that. So we're just going to click quantity, okay, in the field code setting, and this is going to make sense in a moment. Then we're going to get a price, going to do the same thing, call this price. Okay, and then we're going to go to subtotal. Please note you can't have spaces in this, so we're going to put this all as one word, subtotal. Okay, and while we're at it, you know what? Can't remember if we need to or not, but I'm just going to call this grand total. Okay. Now, hopefully everybody has gone and done that. And like I said, it is case sensitive, so make sure you type it in lowercase, or at least remember how you typed it if you do want to use uppercase for anything. And now what we're going to do is some really tricky math stuff, really tricky stuff. So I hope everybody's ready. Okay, so go to the subtotal field, and the subtotal field, I'd like everybody to press the gear mark, go to settings. Okay, and now what I want you to do is type in price asterisk. Oops, where's my asterisk? Asterisk. Okay, price asterisk quantity. Alrighty, so just put that in there, price asterisk quantity. The asterisk is our top secret Kintone code for multiplication, just in case you're a bit confused there. So the reason I wanted you to change the field codes of the price and quantity fields earlier is so they were designated correctly. So our calculation knows what is being multiplied by what. You can set the field codes to any name you'd like, but it's obviously easier to set it as close as you can to the actual name of the field you're working on with, if you can help it. So if you want some inspiration for formulas which work in the calculate field, press the little question mark here at any time, and it will give you some inspiration. A little question mark right here. Yep, you'll see it, question mark, great. So let's also tell it to include a comma. Okay, because as civilized people, we prefer our numbers that way. Great. And let's also, let's put this in dollars. So I'll put the dollar sign there. So it's going to have the subtitle. Okay, let's also have this in dollars. Okay. And yeah, feel free to put in any unit of measurement or currency here that you'd like. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Okay, great. So now let's do another scary calculation. So please click on the total field below, the grand total, sorry, and go to the calculate section. Okay, so settings, go to the calculate formula section here. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty lazy. So instead of typing in sum and then the subtotal, which is how we're going to add everything up, I'm just going to steal it from here. Copy paste, Control C, Control V. Okay, and I'm just going to swap this A here out with subtotal. Easy stuff, right? Okay. And so there we go. So again, feel free to add the comma if you'd like. And you know what? For the currency for this one, let's go with a suffix this time. And yep, okay. And as a proud Aussie, I think I'll list this in dollary dues. Okay, great. So like I said, you can put anything there that you'd like. And yeah, please mention in the comments if you know this reference from The Simpsons, just to keep things interesting for me, keep me awake. Alrighty, so we have that all set up. And okay, if we're happy with that, we're going to save the form. And we're going to activate the app. And boom, that's done. So let's just fill in one or two interactions. So maybe let's log these to the Smith Foundation, just because they're right there at the top and I'm lazy. Okay, let's call this the Artemis Project, because it sounds cool. Okay, and then our expected order date, let's make that, I don't know, a few years' time. Possibility, yeah, B. You can put things in here if you'd like. Let's put my Kintone flyer in there, just for giggles. Okay, and we can put a memo in here. Initiate Artemis project phase 0, something like that. Okay. Yep. What do we need? Okay, Artemis project. We need some rocket boosters. Okay, rocket boosters. Okay, let's have 5 of those. Let's say they cost $10 million each. That's 10,000. Okay, and yep, it'll go and calculate that. So yep, $50 million dues right there. And you know what? You can't have a good rocket launch without some Kintone licenses. So let's have some Kintone licenses. I think we need about 5,000 of those. And yet they're not as expensive as rocket boosters. They're just $30 a pop. So yep, $150,000. What a bargain. What a bargain. So let's save that. And let's say we want to make another one. We can always just duplicate this one. Just click. Let's call this the Mickey Mouse project. Possibility A. Welcome to the House of the Mouse. Okay, and I don't know, Disneyland tickets. Let's see, I don't know, $150 each. And yep, maybe 1,000 Kintone licenses for that for some reason. That's only $30,750 dues, not a bad deal. Okay, so we'll just save that one there. And we have made 2 records. Awesome. Okay, so just to make our app look a little less lonely, I decided to put those in. So yeah, feel free to spam in as many as you'd like, but I think 2 is enough for today. Okay, and I'd also like to see how many of you are still awake. And I'm incredibly lonely and desire some internet attention. So please send your love my way by clicking on the comment box right here and sending me a message. Sam, like this. I'm so ronery. Anybody's seen Team America? All right, let me know in the comments. Okay, just give that a try just to prove to me that you are awake and you know how to use the comments like that. Okay, and remember the @ mark and then just type in my name, Sam. And then a box should appear with my full name, Sam Thomason. Awesome. Okay, so let's continue back to PowerPoint now. Okay, where are we? PowerPoint. Bang, hooray. Okay, we finished our second app. And you are well on your way to mastering the mystical arts of Kintone. Next up is our customer feedback database for logging customer interactions. So because I am retired, this time we're going to make the easiest type of Kintone app there is. And that would be one made from a template. So please jump back on Kintone and click the home button. So going back to Kintone. Going back to Kintone, here we go. Click the home button to go home. And yep, we're gonna click the, you guessed it, plus button to make a new app. You know the drill. But today we're just going to jump straight to the chase and search for customer feedback. So make sure you're on the global marketplace here. And then we're just gonna type in customer feedback. And yeah, spell it properly, don't be an idiot like me. Alrighty, okay, customer feedback. So we just click add this app. Okay, difficult decision here. Do you want this app? Okay, click that. Okay. So back to PowerPoint for a moment. So just a sec. Before I do that though, let's just go back and make a record. So let's just make a quick record in this. Okay, so let's say we had a phone call, and yeah, it's Kintone, so it's going to be praise. I mean, people have nothing but praise for us, as you can imagine. Okay, especially our Kintone food. Not very well known, but yeah, Kintone makes an awesome sandwich. And so I'm guessing that our praise is going to be that Kintone sandwich was the best sandwich I have ever tasted. Okay. Cannot be improved to perfect. Plan is don't change recipe. Okay, let's go ahead and sign that. Okay, and great. Now we can log interactions with customers. Woohoo. Okay, so I'll just press home again and we're going to go back. Okay, to PowerPoint. Okay, so now I'd like to show you another cool Kintone feature called Related Records. And this is going to let us display records from one app to another. So back to Kintone. So please go back to the home page. Okay, so yep, click that home button if you haven't already. And then go to your app section. Okay, now we want to search for, oh, and by the way, customer database. I forgot to mention, yeah, it might be too late, but yeah, you probably want to give this your own name. So Samuel Thomason. Oops, yeah, make sure you do that, guys. Update app. Okay, done. So go back to home. Okay. So please go to the home page, then the app section, and we're going to search for the customer list app. Okay, and there's a really cool feature. You see right here where it says all apps. You can actually click created apps, and this brings up the app that you made. So any apps that you made come up here. Okay, so we're going to click on customer feedback database. No, actually, no, not that one. That's the one we just made with the little boy that kind of looks like me when I was a little boy with a headset. Isn't he cute? Okay, we're going to scroll along. Okay, scroll along until you find adjustments. That's right. So we're going to have a related record in the customer list app. So go back to that first app we made, the customer list. Okay, we're going to press this gear mark. Gear mark lets us change things in an app. Okay, so we can drag in new fields or we can delete old ones, things like that, just to keep your app up to date. And so from the left side of the screen here, we're going to drag the related records field in. You know what, I'm going to stick it right here at the bottom. Alrighty. So let's go over here and change the settings, and we're going to call this, let's say, project info. Okay, so we're going to hook this up with the relationship management app. And obviously make sure that it's yours. So type your name in if in doubt. Yep, so customer management, relationship management, same thing. Okay, and now what we're going to do is, let's set the key for this to customer number. So customer number, and let's go record number here. Customer number, customer number. So customer number, awesome. Okay, and now let's set the fields we want to display. So let's have about 4 fields here. So let's click this plus button 3 times. So we've got 4 fields. Alrighty. And let's go with expected order date. Okay, let's also have customer name. Okay, possibility. And let's have grand total as well. Okay. And let's save that. And yeah, by the way, you could set this up to connect it to the customer feedback app in the same way as well. But yeah, we're running a little low on time and I'm a bit lazy. So let's just pretend we did and skip that part today. So let's test this out by having a look, by updating the app. And let's have a look at that customer that we made a log for earlier. So the Smith Foundation. We click on this record. Voila, there we have our listings here from our customer relationship record, relationship management or customer management app. Okay, so voila. We've successfully set up our related record field by connecting the 2 apps together, the customer list app and relationship management app coupled in holy Kintone. So beautiful, isn't it? 2 apps working together. All right, so I'm gonna click on that home button again. And boom, that's 3 apps done. Congratulations, yay. So I want everyone to let go of their mouse and yeah, pat yourself on the back. Or if you're nodding off, yep, give yourself a bit of a slap and wake up because I've got a little bit more to go, so thanks. Today we have learned how to help our customers centralize their data, visualize their data, and efficiently log interactions with customers. You've also learned how to spam people with messages in Kintone. So yay! Yay for spam! Spam, 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 spam. Alrighty, on to our other features. So did you know that all of our awesome apps we made today together are immediately accessible on your smartphone or tablet? Let's take a quick look at that. So I'm just going to share screen with my phone. Okay. And phone, share screen, screen mirroring. There we go. Okay, hopefully you can all see my phone in just a moment. Okay, yep, you should see my phone. Okay, I'm gonna jump into Kintone. Okay, and this is the Kintone app just loading up a little bit slow this evening. Okay, and why don't we pretend we were at, say, a trade show and we wanted to log the interaction with a customer in our relationship management app. So let's say customer management app. Okay, so I'm going to click on my customer management app. Okay, and let's see. Oh, I'm sorry, the plus button here is in Japanese, but bear with me. Click on that button and let's make a record. And whoops, it's still in Japanese, but just bear with me. Yours will be in English. So I can look up from all of the folks we had earlier. Let's say I want to log an interaction with MTech here. Let's call it the Bigsby. Bugs by. You can tell it's an iPhone. It's got that fantastic auto spell Bigsby project. Okay. We've got an expected order date here and it brings up your calendar, which is super useful. Okay. Put the possibility in, let's call it a C. And we can even take pictures. So let's take a photo here. Alrighty. Kind of see my screen. Okay. Use that photo. We can pick the size we want it to be. And I'll say took a sweet picture of my messy desk for all to see. We'll save that there. And there we go. Okay. And yeah, we can edit this as well. So if I would press the edit button, which would usually say edit in English, then yeah, I can go ahead and I can you know, call this the, I don't know, Marsha project instead or something like that. That'll get saved. And yeah, as you can see, Kintone mobile app works great. Works a charm, really easy to use. Great when you're on the go. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to go back to our presentation. So I'll just stop sharing that there. And share my other screen again. Okay, great. So we went over this earlier, but you can also make fancy looking interactive graphs on Kintone, just like these. So we had a look at the pie graph, but you can make all sorts of bar graphs and tables and other really awesome graphs. And the beauty of these Kintone graphs is they're dynamic. So they're linked to your apps. And so whenever you update those apps, the graphs get updated in sync with that. And you can click on any of the parts of the graphs and it will bring you to the relevant records to that part of the graph. So yeah, super, super powerful feature. Definitely a winner. Okay. Also, Kintone has some great access restriction features. So if you want to restrict a particular app, let's say you have an HR app for payroll that you don't want seen by anybody out of HR, you can set that up in that way. You can also set more granular filters and access conditions. So if you want particular records to not be visible by others, then you can do that as well. And you can even make certain fields within records visible or not visible based on those settings. Really easy to set up and very, very useful. Okay, notifications and reminders. So in our settings page, we also have notifications options. So the one I use the most is the reminder, especially if I have an app with like a deadline, I can actually hook that deadline date that the person who's writing the record inputs. You can hook that up to an alarm to remind somebody. So let's say with your to-do app, you set up your deadline. You can have an alarm tell you a day in advance, 2 days in advance, or whatever you set it up for, to let you know. And same with the records and the general notifications. You can set up the parameters by which it decides when to send notifications, which is another great feature. Alrighty, process management. We looked at this a little bit earlier, but it's also very easy to set up process management in Kintone. So if certain things require approval, being looked over by certain people, this also automates the process of moving that record from person to person. So saves you a heck of a lot of time. Fantastic feature. Really, really important. So take a look at that. That's also in the settings, so have a play around. Foreign language support. This is one I'm also going to just do a quick demo for. So let's just pop back into Kintone and let's have a look, for example, at our, let's say our customer management app. Let's say we had a bilingual team and we wanted it accessible to people in, say, English and Japanese, but it could be English and Thai or English and whatever. We just go to the app settings, okay, and you will notice on the right here where it says localization, we will click on this, and then we can change the language for any part of this app. So let's say we want to change the form. the record number, everything in this form. We can have an English version, like a Japanese version, a Chinese version. And even though it says like English, Japanese, Chinese here, you could put Thai or Tagalog or anything you want in here. This is, by no means anything more than just a guideline. So put any language you want in here. And for example, here's our default. If I put, for example, in Japanese, I'll type in so here's just Japanese for record number. If I were to save that, and then if I were to go and translate all of these, then somebody who was a Kintone user with their user form set up in Japanese would automatically see this app in Japanese with whatever we listed there. So this is a fantastic feature when you have multilingual teams because you can set up an app and everybody will see it immediately, automatically in their own language. So I'll just leave this, go back to home, and yep, we'll just jump back into our PowerPoint presentation. Great. Okay. So yeah, guys, thanks. It's been great. That's it for me. Take it away, Yukiko.